Do you know who you are? Or are you just living the identity that someone else decided for you? Now that question has the power to change your income, your business, and your entire life. Because until you answer it, every strategy that you try, every goal that you set, and every sacrifice you make will keep on delivering the same results over and over again. And you'll spend another year building the wrong life or the wrong version of yourself. For many years, I was doing all the right things on the outside, and I was actually completely lost on the inside. I was building different businesses. I was showing up, following every single blueprint, and taking every piece of advice from every single mentor that I could find. Not because the strategies were wrong, but because the person executing them had no real idea who he actually was. I was operating from an identity that had been handed down to me by my upbringing, by people around me, my environment, by society, and being told at high school that I'd never amount to anything. That created a ceiling of what to expect. And without realizing, I accepted this identity completely. I was living someone else's story about who Mindy Paul was allowed to be. The moment I stopped and asked myself, now, what do I want to have? Not what do I want to achieve, but who am I? What do I stand for? Whose identity am I actually living? And everything began changing. I stopped performing on an identity that had been assigned to me and started deciding the identity that I was actually going to live, my reality. Everything that I've built ever since, every result, every breakthrough, every client transformation has come from that moment of truly knowing who I really was. And that same clarity is available to you right now. I'm Mindy Paul, CEO and founder of Mind, Money and Business. That's my training company where I've helped business owners add over $100 million of revenue to their businesses across more than 87 different industries globally. In this video, I'm going to show you the free shifts that you can take. And the moment you start taking them, that's when you decide who you really become and why that changes everything. Shift number one, you stop living someone else's identity and start operating from your own. And this shift is something that most people never ever make because they're not aware. And this is the most costly thing in entrepreneurs at every level because every identity creates a new reality. So I want you to think about your current reality, how you're living, your finances, your income, the type of clients that you attract. That is simply a reflection of your current identity. Your current identity was formed from generations back, depending on how old you were, from the moment you were born, from your upbringing, what you were hearing constantly around money, successful people. Now, you can never become someone you resent. So if unconsciously you have a negative idea about someone who's wealthy, guess what? You'll create an identity where you don't want to be associated to wealth, and you'll start to form this new identity that is not accepting wealth. So you're going to reject wealth no matter what you do. It's an unconscious identity. And that identity you'll carry through life. Maybe you were told that if you want to be successful, you got to be smart, you got to work hard, and money only comes to those lucky people. You've heard that phrase, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Now that isn't down to wealth, it's about the mindset that person has. So I want you to really think about your identity right now. Does it serve where you want to get to in your life? Your identity, how you are right now, that story that you keep on playing to yourself over and over again. I can't do it, it's too hard. When will I ever break through? Money's so hard, there's not enough money to get around. This won't work for me. You find 101 reasons, and that is all associated to your own story. And once you start changing that story, that concept of yourself, that's when you're going to start to find that your life will start to open doors. You'll start to attract greater opportunities. So it's not the fact that your strategy hasn't been working. It's the fact that the story behind every single strategy isn't working for you. So unless you change your story, guess what? The music won't change. I was told by one of my high school teachers that I'd never amount to anything. And for many years, that voice would always echo in my head. Every time I'm about to get further into my life, into my business, or I'm about to start up a new venture, I'd always hear that voice in my ear. Mindy, you'll never amount to anything. And so I'd kind of failed before I even succeeded. So I was planning to fail with that identity. So the moment I decided that I was no longer going to carry that story of not being enough, of not amounting to anything, I decided that, hey, listen, I've got no real evidence to back those claims up. They were simply someone else's opinion of me that were becoming my reality. So I wanted to change my reality, so I had to change my own opinion of me. So do you need to change your own opinion of yourself? Think about that. How many false beliefs do you have, negative beliefs do you have that you still carry with you today without any real context, without any evidence that these things actually matter? Imagine how much baggage that you've been carrying around over all these years, moving forward, weighing you down. So what would happen if you finally let go of those bags that don't belong to you and you start to create your new identity? I guarantee one thing, new identity equals new life. Would you want to stay with your old identity, or get a new life. Get rid of those bags right now. Drop them. Before we move on to that next shift, if this is already hitting home for you, I put together a 5-day challenge. There's a link in the description below where you can register for your seat right now. Over the next 5 days, I will walk you through the exact processes that I've been using with my clients to identify the inherited beliefs that are driving their current identity and begin building a new one from the ground up. So hit the link below and register for the 5-day challenge. Shift number 2, you stop chasing what to do next and start owning who you are. And the moment you do that, you'll start to see that your business will start to scale. And this is the reason why so many talented, hardworking entrepreneurs keep hitting the same ceiling regardless of how much they invest in strategy, skill, and systems. I remember back in the day, I'd book into so many different networking events and I'd go into like different cities. And I would tell myself, I've got to get to this event. I'd make all the excuses to go. And when I finally got there, I wouldn't talk to anybody because I was a nervous wreck, because I had this belief, like, why would these people want to talk to me? I'm a shy person. I'm not an outgoing person. I have got no right to be in this room, and I would not communicate with anybody. I'd have a little wander around, spend a whole day wasting time and not taking any action. And guess what? I would do it again and again and again. I'd always find somewhere to go, telling myself this time's going to be different. And guess what? It never was. And maybe it's a time when I brought a new course or a strategy I was going to follow. I remember having a mentor. He was supposed to be a multi-millionaire mentor, and he had this big mansion in Peterborough. And I would go to his house, sit there for 3 hours, and he'd give me a load of strategies. I'd take notes after notes after notes. And I would implement the strategies. And guess what had happened? Nothing would happen. I'd go back the next month, the next month, the next month. Months would go by. The only persons whose pockets were getting filled were his, not mine. And he never sort of asked me a question like, hang on a minute, I'm giving you all of these strategies. What's going on? He didn't pick up on the fact that strategy wasn't the problem. And this is a problem with most people. They focus so much on strategy when if you don't have the beliefs that you can actually accumulate the level of money that you want, that you can actually hit that goal, you'll never be able to make strategy work. So that was a kind of a mystery. I'm like, I'm doing all the things I'm being told to do. This person's supposed to be wealthy and nothing's changing for me. It wasn't until years later I really realized that, hey, I didn't have the identity, and he didn't pick up on the fact that there was something wrong deeper inside. It was like a surface level thing. It's like trying to fix something on the surface. Just strategy alone isn't enough. Until you can start to believe that you are that person, you start to change your internal story, nothing else changes, because you will always have these underlying beliefs. So how many times have you been in a situation trying to do something when you just know yourself deep down, hey, this isn't going to work? And that's the story that you're holding on to. That's the baggage. So until you change that narrative, nothing else will change. No strategy in the world is going to make a difference. And I've worked with some amazing people all around the world, some great mentors, some great students. And one thing I focus on now, I don't focus on the strategy first. I focus on their story of what's causing their unwanted results. And then we go to work on that subconscious story. That's when the strategy starts to work. I've seen this time and time again. And this is why we have amazing results with our clients. So stop chasing what to do next and start owning who you really are. Because the moment you own who you are and you realize the shift that you've got to make, you'll see that your business will start to scale. Remember, it's not the strategy that's running your business, it's your story. It's my little Salt Bay bit of salt on there, isn't it? This fucking little top up. And shift number 3, you start living from your new identity and your income starts to rise to meet you there. And this is the shift that my clients feel the most powerful. And it's the one that makes everything else that we've spoken about really tangible, measurable, and it's money in the bank. Now, here's what actually happens when you stop living from the inherited identity and finally start owning who you are and who you decide to be. So your pricing changes, not because your market's changed, not because you've added a new skill set, and it's only because you've changed your identity. And that new identity is a reflection of what shows up in your bank balance at that subconscious level. So that belief is what shifts the pricing, the clients that you attract, your confidence, everything else mirrors your new identity. So remember that the universe is like a mirror. It's a reflection of who you are internally. It's how you see yourself. It's exactly what shows up in your bank balance, in your business, in the type of clients that you attract. So once you change who you are, you'll start to see that you become magnetic to all the type of people that you need to attain your goal, the right type of contracts, the right clients. And this happens so easily. The wrong ones always find a way to leave. I've seen this happen so many times. So start working on a higher version of yourself and you'll start to see that your behavior, your character traits will start to change and you become more effective, more productive, and procrastination will leave you. And this is what's going to be ingrained in your brain every moment of the day. You're going to become an action taker and you're not going to sit back and take it easy anymore because it just doesn't fit in with this new identity of yourself. Raise your standards. Now, once you increase your standards from this new identity, you'll find that the universe starts to deliver you higher level clients, more money in less effort. So remember, you must expand your identity if you wish to expand your bank balance. When you change, that's when everything else changes. You don't change, guess what? Nothing else changes and life becomes a bore. Look around you. Look at all the people that you know. Their results are a reflection of their identity. Have you seen people that are great at what they do? They work for other people, but they can never do it for themselves. They can never own their business. Maybe it's a carpenter. He's great at working for somebody else in their business. But the moment you speak to them, say, "Hank, you could do this for yourself. You're great at what you do." They will always have in their mind a valid reason of why they couldn't do it, even though they might have 30 years worth of experience. Guess what? They don't have a business owner's mindset or an identity. They have the identity of an employee. That's why they will always be an employee working on someone else's dreams. Now, maybe you can see how your identity has been creating your results. So once you start living from your new identity, you'll find that your income rises to meet you there. That's what's waiting for you. Not just a bigger number, a bigger version of yourself, the version that's always been there, always capable, always worthy, just waiting for you to decide it was true. So let's have a recap. The question isn't what you need to do to grow your business. The real question is, who do you need to become? Because who you are is always, without exception, the determining factor in what you build, what you earn, and what you're capable of. The 3 shifts that we covered today. Shift number 1, you stop living in inherited identity and start operating from your own new one. Because the ceiling most business owners are bumping up against is not their strategy, it's the story they have accepted and who they're allowed to be. And shift number 2, you stop chasing what to do next and you start owning who you are. Because your results are not a reflection of how hard you're working, they're a reflection of who you are. And when that identity is right, the business starts to scale in a way that no amount of strategy could ever do alone. Shift number 3, you start living from your new identity completely and your income rises to meet you there. Your clients change, opportunities expand, and everything that felt like a ceiling reveals itself that has been nothing more than the decision that you had yet not made. So do you know who you are? Because that answer to the question is the most important thing that you'll ever decide in your business, and you can decide that right now. If this video landed for you, you need to watch the next one right here. It shows you deciding who you want to become is only the beginning and why motivation alone will never sustain that identity without the discipline, and that's what turns into daily actions. So click the video right now and I'll see you there.